Hello everybody and welcome to this new moon reading for Good Vibrations. Our new moon is coming up on October 7th, okay? So that'll be on Monday. And then we also have Mercury moving into the sign of Scorpio on October 9th. So big week, and during the course of this video, you may hear outside that's why I'm not doing the reading outside. My husband is got the chainsaw out and sort of clearing some branches so that we can see better. And I just believe in the magic of my existence. I believe in the enchantment that is all around us. And I love weaving it into the story because it's meaningful. So I'm starting to work with the Sabian symbols. I'll get to that again. Just stay with me here. I'm starting to work with the Sabian symbols in a slightly deeper way. I felt very strongly, I think it was last week, when I had this sort of knowing. That's how it always bubbles up, sort of like an effervescent, bubbly. It comes up and I feel this sense of like longing for understanding a deeper level of the Sabians that are very specific to all of us and specific to points such as this new moon, which will be would technically be at Libra 16 for our symbol because it's 15 degrees and something minutes. And the rules when working with Sabians is that you round up. If it's 15 degrees and 38 minutes, you would round up to 16. And, it really started to bother me. And that's how I always know that something deeper wants to come through. Something that is very unique to me as a messenger and how these symbols want me to work with them. And I feel that honor for every single messenger out there, whether they're an astrologer or a medium or a card reader, whatever it is. I feel an equal sense of honor and reverence towards each of them because we each have our own filter through which we deliver a message. But for me, I was feeling a draw to understanding, okay, but for this new moon, well, what is Libra 15 then? Because really it's like when you're celebrating a first birthday, you don't really get to the age 1 until you reach that point. All the time up to that, you're really in age 0 in a way, or we could think about it from age 1 to 2. You're still age 1 all the way up. We don't refer to it as, you're 1 year and 8 months. We don't refer to it that way, and I started to feel that way towards the Sabians. Like, I think there's a little, like, not disrespect, but that we're kind of flushing that deeper meaning by just going by the rules. And I can't do it that way. And I know when it starts to bother me that I need to shift then. When it starts to rub against me, something meaningful is coming forward. So, all that being said, what I'm going to do from now on for my readings is I'm going to look at what I call the seed, the sort of the germination point, which is the wholeness of that degree point at which this new moon is. The new moon is not at Libra 16 yet. And the symbols are so important in my readings that I want both of us to have the fullness of the information to work with. So we'll look at both the seed as well as what we are becoming. So look at it as the seed energy, and then Libra 16 is where we're growing to. It is still a valid set of symbols, like when I look at astrology, I'm still going to look at that sort of becoming set, that what was I calling it, like a budding set, a flowering set, the becoming. But the seed energy is important too because it tells us You've got this. This is definitely something you have packed in your backpack. You have got this, but now you need to employ this to go further. Because that's the one constant. That's really the only constant we can look to when it comes to life on this planet Earth, is that we came here to expand. We came here for different experiences. And yes, some of those experiences are really gritty and difficult, and some of them fill us with joy that we never could have imagined was possible. All of it is rich, rich experience for the soul level. So I'm interested in looking at both of those levels. So I hope that you're with me as we travel through this, and of course open to your feedback on this, but I want to give you the wholeness of it. And it's kind of a pat on the back to us to say, for this new moon, here's the message about this is what it's a tool that you've got in your tool belt, and now you're using it to get to this next level. It's a really gratifying feeling to look at the seed energy as well. So given that, and with Mercury, the planet of communication and our cognition, going to a deeper level with our ability to communicate, and don't forget, Mercury is also your ability to listen. It's the great processor that we have. So it's not only the outgoing from us, but also the incoming. So you need to consider both, as well as like learning new things and your method for learning new things. And with it going into Scorpio, we're getting to the deepest parts of a new understanding that you're coming to or reaching for, perhaps. Nobody goes as deep as Scorpio. That's my mantra with Scorpio. It's like an auger. It just goes, and it's depth in terms of emotional intelligence. It is really uncovering deep truths. And by doing that, if you can hear the chainsaw going on outside, you are rebuilding something. And here's where that ties in. The seed energy is Libra 15. And this is an important one for me. So this new moon is going to be really dramatic for me, I think. It is my rising sign point. Libra 15 is circular paths. It has to do with consider it like a spiral. We're just always going around. We're learning. We're going through the cycles. And everything in this life is cycles. We see it in nature. We see it in the moon cycles. We see it in the tide structure. You see it in life itself, our life cycle. And that we're constantly going through sort of birth, life, death. And round it goes. And we're reborn all the time. Numerology is also one of these cycles, and we're flooding through that every single day. There is a numerological value for every day if you add up all the digits of an exact date, including, the year. So when you add that up, there's a numerological energy for the day. There is the same with our year cycle. It's so many cycles that we don't even recognize. Look at how time is structured. Everything is cycles. So circular paths points to that this is a root truth, and you know this. The meaning of the seed Sabian for this new moon is that you know this. It's time for you to use this and know that this too shall pass. And some of you might be in a really good place right now and go, oh my God, no, I don't want it to pass. But guess what? Just like the Sabian spoke to me and started rubbing up against me like, but there's more. And nobody's really wanting to tell that story because they want to follow the rules and they want to just do the roundup method. Talk about bringing a human ego structure, i.e. Mercury in Scorpio is going deeper, saying, no, I'm not going to follow just that rule. There's something more. And it's the same for you. Even if you're in a very good place right now, The value comes when you feel that rub again. You know you're in a cycle of rebirth again. It's all good because you know you come out on the other side of it. Look back on your life. How many times do you go round and then it comes back up and you're like, oh, it's the dawning of a new day. Things get better. Things get more clear. Out of the time in the muck comes this new resilience that you pull yourself out, or as my mother loves to say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And just boom, you've got this energy to come to a new level of yourself. That's the value of the struggle in it all. You know, even if it's if you're facing end of life, it's the same thing. Some of those people are some of the most peaceful people on this planet because they have dropped their struggle. They don't believe in the struggle anymore. They simply are just taking in the wonder of every day. And in that way, they're living kind of a heaven on earth sort of existence. But I want that for all of us. I don't want us to have to be facing end of life and only have days or years or whatever to live. We can live it now. We can have that peace now. So that's what I think is offered from this seed energy. Please know that what that indicates is for all of us, this is a core truth. We've got this in our backpack. We packed it when we came into this life, and we know this. So what are we reaching for then? What is the becoming with this new moon? This is where you should be setting your intention. That's always what we do with the new moon. So this is where the chainsaw out there comes in. Libra 16. After a storm, a boat landing stands in need of reconstruction. And what the boat landing indicates is emotional turbulence because it indicates water. And it's when we've had very solid structures within the watery areas of our life, within the emotional waves that come through. And sometimes those waves are so much that they break down the structures. And it's kind of like my husband out there. I think he's the Mercury in this story. Mercury moving into Scorpio, clearing away and getting to the emotional truth, the emotional depth of what underpinnings need to be reconstructed so that you can have more clarity. He's out there doing that so that when we get to the end of our driveway, we can clearly see both sides of where traffic could be coming or dogs could be running out or whatever, wildlife we have here. It's so that you can see more clearly. That is the value of the reconstruction effort. So just know it's part of the cycle. That's the seed energy. You're just going through a life cycle. It ain't no big thing. Don't bring all the drama to it. It's just not necessary. This is how it goes here. We have to get real about that and stop infusing by drama. What I really mean with that, talk about Scorpio energy. I mean fear. I mean anxiety. I mean frustration, depression, self-mutilation, like self-deprecation, like taking the knife and just stabbing ourselves over and over again. Like, how could you do this? You did this again. When are you going to wake up? We are so hard on ourselves as humans. And this is the time. This new moon is the time to come to a new place of understanding and a new place of just simply wanting to reconstruct some emotional constructs that are the very underpinnings of our existence. And Mercury is going to help you here by moving into Scorpio. Mercury will bring the clarity that you need in this area of being able to see and stop and to see through the lies that we tell ourselves or that others may tell us, even if they're incredibly well-meaning. Truth feels better. And if you're just operating on something that feels like, oh, I want that to be the truth, you know when it doesn't feel right because you just feel unsettled within yourself. And that's your scorpionic energy speaking to you. We all have it. It's in different areas of all of our charts, and that's how you know where your Scorpio really is and where it's going to be employed with this Mercury. But it's the deepest part of you, and it wants truth, which is very unique to each of us. I can like orange, you might hate orange. But the point is in owning that for yourself. So what I feel is, no, you're in a cycle, and you might be in a time of rebirth, or you might just be in a time of like living, or you might be in a period of something dying away. What I think is that we are coming to a point, all of us, of a redefinition of something in our lives. Something that we're deeply passionate about, something that we are deeply have emotional ties to, that are like foundational for us. We're in need of reconstruction, and now is the time. So set your intention in that direction. Okay? So let's get to our cards. The first one up is from the Flower Therapy deck. And this is Take Time for Yourself. All right, the beautiful tulip. You know, I think, I honestly can't remember. I want to say that we had this not that long ago. I know a client also had this recently. This says, enjoy relaxation activities that nurture your soul. What I love about the tulip is it is one of the first that comes in the spring. After that winter thaw, it has the strength to be able to push up through those frozen layers of the spring, the early spring, and to sprout and to bring color, some of the very first color in what is otherwise quite a barren landscape after a winter time. And what I feel with this new moon, again, your intention is going to be very unique for yourself. But we're looking at concepts like emotional rebuilding from the ground up. We're talking about foundations here. And this is anything in the emotional sphere. It is really just what is deeply passionate for you. That's how you'll know, because passion always indicates a very strong emotional component. You are emotionally invested in whatever this is that is in need of rebuild with this new moon. Because something needs, remember, circular paths, it's time for something to go. It's not working anymore. It's not working for me to just talk about Libra 16. That feels so empty to me now. I want you to know that you have got this with circular paths. It's going to pass. You're going to come through. It's okay. There's almost a feeling of knowing it's okay to let things go. It's okay to say, I'm really done with that. I can't do it anymore. It's okay to let something die. We have a real strong, this is what I call the rails under the water of the Disney ride, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We think we're going on an adventure, but really we hear a word like death or die, and we have so much baggage around that word. And I have it too. I mean, it's just a part of, there's so much definition around words, and there's baggage, energetic baggage that comes with it too. So we get on that rail, and it's really hard to get off because there's a lot of momentum. Just like on that ride, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, thousands and thousands of people have gotten on there thinking, wow, we're going under the sea. You know, even if they realize they're not. Think about little kids. They're like, ooh, wow, look at what we saw. You know, and it's like, it's just a facade. It's not even real. And the words like death and die and dying are the same thing. Like, we can bring our individual meanings to it. It's okay. It's okay if you want to totally revamp how you feel when those words come up. Because guess what? You've got circular paths packed in your backpack. Like I said in the intro, you've got that knowledge on board. This is just something that is a phase, and I'm coming out of it. How many of us look at our children as they're growing up, and believe me, there are years that you're like, okay, I can't wait till this phase is over. I've kind of had it. I remember age 3 was that for us. Very difficult. Age 12 was another humdinger. It's the fact that it's just simply life cycle, and it's okay to let it go. But I can tell from the symbology there is an emotional attachment, and it is very deep, and it is almost umbilical cord like, and it simply wants to be detached at this point because you have become more. There is more in your life waiting for you, and that more has to do with this kind of rebirth of, this is a time for you to take the time for yourself. So this can be things like choosing to walk away from a job because you simply don't have the emotional stamina for it anymore. Or this can be choosing to let a relationship of some sort die because it simply doesn't have the meaning and the level of depth that it once did. And this is all in service to you getting more clear for yourself. That's what this card represents. It's the freshness of spring, the very beginnings of new color coming out within you. Like coming out of a deep, deep cold, when you've got a cold on board, and you come out and all of a sudden you start getting that rosy cheeked look again. And it's like new life has sprung forth. Your cells are all busy working in there. You know, your immune system is kicking up and everything's just chugging forward. That's what I feel. So that's where it's helpful to set your sights in that direction, because it's all in service to you. It's about taking time for yourself. This is about you coming to understand, but what really matters to me? Because when it's all said and done and you've left this world, if you haven't made things happen for yourself, you can't point the finger at anybody else. It's not their job. It's only your job. Okay. The next card is from the Angel Tarot deck. And this is the 8 of Air. Which you see, it's probably a little dark. All right, all of these unicorns sort of moving forward. Well, one of them is sort of moving forward ahead of the other 7. They're all kind of standing back, and there's one that's moving ahead. The card says an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence, afraid to take action. And the air suit is about mental. So this indicates to me that we have the new moon energy of needing to set intention. It's a helpful time to set intention at the new moon. And again, in terms of rebuilding some deep, deep emotional structures and attachments in your life, things you're passionate about too. But for you, that Mercury on October 9th moving into Scorpio feels even stronger part of your message because of it being of the air suit and it being connected to that. And the 8 energy is about rebuilding too in numerology. So this, I do feel like it is your time to move ahead. I'm actually sensing the horse energy here of like that sort of, horse people probably have words for this, but I sense it energetically with them instead. So it's like they're so hesitant. It's like when they're going through an obstacle course and they're just so hesitant to like move ahead, and that you know, their partner is sort of trying to push them ahead to move, and they're just feeling like, but I'm going to get hurt, or this isn't right, or, you know, and it's like a whole curtain of foam noodles that they have to walk through, and they're just freaking. So I feel this sense of like there's some fear in moving forward, but just know that there is a lot of momentum, not only with the new moon. This is clearly to me a time of something dying so that it can be reborn. And another way with less dramatic language than that to look at this is simply, it's the opening of a new chapter. This is your fairy tale that is being told here on this planet, and you are the storyteller. You are the author of that. And so what level of enchantment do you want to infuse in your story? Because you can sit there and get writer's block and just not want to, like, I think I want it to be this, but you just don't really want to put it down on paper. You don't, there's something even with our plans, or when we're making plans for something, or I can remember in school starting a really big paper, you know, writing a paper, and man, I would procrastinate like crazy. But it was just once I got something down on paper, because we didn't have computers back then, when I started getting it down on paper, everything shifted, and I was just in the mode. And I'm here to say to you, whatever it is that you're looking to move ahead on in terms of rebuilding kind of your emotional viewpoint on something, your passion on some part of your life, whatever you're looking to rebuild, and perhaps you've been thinking this for a while, it's time to move forward. Mercury will help you here, because Mercury is stirring up the very, very deepest part of that kind of emotional attachment and therefore drive in terms of passion towards what you're wanting. Because really, emotion is the big driver energetically in our lives. Thought actually comes secondary to emotion in terms of manifestation. Because think about it. You think of an idea, and whether or not your brain comes up with that, or your great wild spirit within you thinks of that, the call of the wild, that's debatable. But whatever you think, it's just whatever comes to you, the epiphany comes. You know what makes it happen is when your heart is invested in it. Then you're like, okay, my heart's in the game, this is happening. And you find ways to, you become industrious, and then you earth it. You literally ground the intention, and you start then using your fire energy to bring it forward. That is the go power. That is the getting it done. But your heart is the key to the manifestation. And that's what wants to come forward, is that emotional, you're getting down to the emotional nitty-gritty here of what do I want to rebuild in my life. It's time for a change. But I do feel that hesitation with this card. I feel that like, I know I need to rebuild this, but either it's a lot of work, or I'm scared because I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm scared because I don't know if this is the right path. But I feel, pay attention to when you're making those statements, even if they're in your head. I feel like this just seems so right to me, because I feel myself, I keep getting pulled towards it. Okay, and this is it's a decision that I have just made thanks to the help of a dear friend who was my source, you know, last night in a discussion. I've really made the decision to not, I'll only do horse sessions with people that I've done them with before. But that's not the business that I'm going after anymore. I'm really going to go in the root of astrology and card readings And I think that's where my service really, my best service really exists, because I can make an impact. I can help people who want that kind of help. And I can learn a lot in the process too. So those decisions, it's very hard to cut that loose. Whatever it is, it's that cutting loose that can keep us tied to it, because it's so familiar. And it's almost like you'd rather know your enemy. It's easier to know your enemy than to not, because then you can kind of watch your back. But this feels very different. It feels like it's rebirth at the deepest levels of who we are at this new moon. And to simply know you're ready for it. That's what the circular path symbol indicates. It's just part of the cycle. So like suck all the drama out of it and say, well, clearly I'm ready for this. Because it's just, look back on your other things that you felt such a fear. You felt so fearful or anxious, or maybe, kind of frustrated at the lack of clarity or energy to get something going. And then look at whatever happened, whatever was the outcome. Maybe the timing wasn't right at that time. Or maybe you moved ahead with a piece of it and then it turned into all this other stuff. But it keeps going round, the circular paths. That energy is going to continue to move. And so there's big momentum here and support, particularly with Mercury for you, in being able to bring some mental clarity, to get your emotional field kind of figured out. Because once your heart's in it, you know you can make it happen. You won't have this hesitation. You're going to move forward. Okay. The final card is from the Rumi deck. And this is always beautiful artwork. This is number 38. Which is the courage of your love. All right, so 38, so that is 11 energy, so that's a master number of being the inspirational teacher and leader. So there's a level of leadership that is around greater inspiration, greater hope for yourself, and coming to a new place with that. I like to read Alana Fairchild. She's the author for this deck. And I love to read her entries because, there's very specific meaning that she brings to this. So I'll just read a portion of this. I'm just flipping to it here. Okay. The Rumi passage for this. I'll hold this up here. It's a little dark, sorry. The courage of your love. The Rumi passage is, love is without reason, rationality is like a cane. Judgment needs a cane because it is blind. When love arrives, thought dies in its shadow. Love is the sunrise, while thought is only a flashing light. Interesting. All right, I'm going to read the... I'm going to read this portion. This oracle comes with particular guidance for you. You are not to give less than you are worth, or to the shaming stories of others of our culture that would cast your regal lion nature, the wild within, I would call that, into the falsehood of beliefs that you have no choice or power. You are not to give into the idea that you are a victim and cannot free yourself from your suffering, or that you are less than any other. These are lies. These are petty deceptions, so unworthy of you. Do not believe them. Roar at them until the weak glue holding them together melts under the fire of your holy breath, and they lie dismembered and powerless at your feet. Then intend that those bits and pieces in decay are lovingly returned to the Earth Mother, through whom they can be used to fertilize new life. This oracle comes with another message for you. You have a challenge before you, or that you are now moving through. But you have what is necessary to succeed and overcome it. No matter how long it has endured or how big you have built that challenge up to be in your mind, no matter how unsolvable the issue appears to be, there is and shall be a victory behind it, and it is imminent. This oracle has come to you to let you know that you are empowered to succeed. You have what is required within to do it, and that the time for your victory is drawing near. If that is an impetus, and clearly this is something very, very big for you because it's an 11 energy with the, this is card 38. So we add those up, and that's 11. So it's clearly a time of a new leadership within yourself being built. Whatever this supposed challenge, and I say it exactly that way, whatever supposed challenge is in front of you, you are ready for this, and you can do this. It is big, big energy here for you in knowing that this is about a level, with the mention of the lion energy, it's about that level of new courage being built. This is how we build courage as an individual on the planet. We can't build it unless we have a challenge, or what I like calling the rub. That is what creates new experience in our lives, and it is necessary. It is necessary for continued growth and expansion, because if you're not in some way changing as you go around the circular paths, remember that's the seed of this, you know you're just going around, you're going around that big old wheel, and life keeps spinning around, and you are changing, and everything around you is changing at the same time. And then sometimes as those cogs come together, sometimes the tines don't line up. Sometimes they do, and things go swimmingly well, and we're just like, it's so easy. And when they don't line up, that's when we know, okay, I got to shift something here because this isn't working. My life is not coming together. I feel way too much tension, way too much stress, way too much discontent in my life. You did come here to experience joy, believe it or not, and a level of grace and contentment. That is actually our natural state. So if we don't have that, we have the power of choice, and that's what I feel is also imbued with this new moon. There's the choice to rebuild, and we have many mechanisms. That's the beauty of our beautiful brains and our ability to think about all the options and think about the choices that we can make, and the fact that we do have a choice. We can say no, actually. We can let something die. We can let something go. We can choose to totally metamorphosize our relationship to something or just ourselves. And therefore, as you do that, some things will drop away because they're no longer in resonance with you. They don't line up. The tines are not there anymore, and it's causing more friction, and it's wearing you down in the process. That's not your natural state, and you know that because you will feel so depleted on a deep spiritual level. So now is your time. Big time of courage. Okay, everybody, there we go. It's this is a big new moon, and I'm appreciative for the seed knowledge of circular paths. I would encourage us all, please try not to have all this energy of the drama of it all. The cycle just spins round. The wheel keeps going round and round. And you're on it, I'm on it, we're all on it. We're all shifting and changing. People are doing the best where they're at. We're not all at the same point. We just have to try to line our tines up of our cog wheels the best that we can. And sometimes we have to break off and figure that out for ourselves. But there's always this chance for a new beginning, and that's what I feel this new moon is. So enjoy this wonderful, fresh start kind of energy, rebuilding some of these emotional supports that are foundational for your life in order to bring greater passion forward. Have a great new moon, and I will see you next week.